So it is a quite hard job to make a presentation after a lunch. I hope you enjoyed it. But let us come back to the topic which we started to discuss earlier today. It is the financial inclusion, and I will just share my view and my experience in this area. And first of all, I would like to share with you what practically the financial inclusion means. And it's practically the affordability and convenient access of all the customers for a high quality, affordable financial services delivered by trustworthy providers with respect to the customer. I think it's very important to have all these components because if one of these components is missing, the whole concept is not working. First of all, some numbers and some important information about the current status, and this is a global picture. The global picture shows that a lot of population was mentioned already, about 2.6 billion people. They live below $2 per day, and half of the population in the working age works in informal jobs, and 50% without a formal financial accounts. It is a global picture. What about Egypt? About Egypt, we see the three cycles the same, but even worse situation with the formal financial accounts, over 80%. It means that bankable population is only 10 million. And very interesting is that this picture is not only so because of Egypt. The whole region, if you are talking about the MENA region, it is the lowest in the whole world. For this, there are of course several reasons, but if you are looking at the high-income economies, 20 countries in the world with the highest economies, the financial access is 90%. What we have in Middle East and North Africa, only 18. Trying to switch. Okay, here is the information about the penetration rates, and here we see that situation is even worse, because if we are talking about specific areas of financial inclusion, for example, microfinancing, microcredit, savings, and insurance, the potential is really huge, because the current market is quite small according to the data of the whole population. It is 18 million people in the region needs credit. So 105 million people have no opportunity to save in the organized way, and they're putting their money under mattress. And in insurance, 99% of the market is untapped. And for this, it means 240 million people in the region, they are our potential customers. Why the situation is like this? So I will say that in many situations, in many countries, especially in the emerging markets, insurance is a younger brother of banks. Usually the banks have bigger customer database, they have a broader range of products addressing to several segments of the customers. But insurance, if you are talking about very specific areas, especially concerning the life of the person, so life insurance, it's a very interesting and very, I think we have a very big perspective. And if we are talking about the role of insurance in financial inclusion, we shall remind us I don't like it to use this Maslow pyramid so every time. I'm not doing this. But this, having in mind the pyramids in Egypt and pyramid of Maslow of specific needs and basic needs and other needs, it fits very good together. So according to this theory, the basic human needs are practically physiological, so food, water, shelter and safety, so security and protection. And for many people, especially low-income population, insurance is often seen as a last important and last financial product they need because they are struggling to meet their basic needs: food, water, electricity. Now the mobile connection is becoming a basic need. So we see that now in Egypt the penetration of mobile is over 100%. It's amazing how fast this number were achieved. But at the same time, we have not to forget that the need of protection is very important, and insurance is playing a great role in this. Because practically insurance as a concept is nothing else as a family concept of support. So people are saving so small amount of money, putting it to the one entire place, and in case if something happened and somebody needs a bigger amount, out of this place it will be paid. It's practically insurance. And the insurance was created also many years ago and started with a lower income population, life insurance, and then it was developed in the other way. Insurance acts as a safety net, and insurance allow also to take advantages of many opportunities as this. But so what is important and what is we have to consider, it's very difficult to put insurance protection into the hands of the low-income population. Why? It's quite simple. Because there are several topics which are very important. What challenges the customer and the insurer face when they started to develop insurance penetration, insurance providing the insurance coverage? For the customer, the most important thing is the trust in financial institutions. Not only insurance, also banks, also other institutions. It's very important that they trust. For the customer, it's also very important the awareness. What is insurance practically? And if it's possible to get some referrals from the peers, from the neighbors, from the relatives. In many situations, the low income especially, there are no references in this area. So people are not insured and they cannot share their experience in this area. The next for the customer is reachability. How the customer can get the access for this coverage? How? Who will bring this protection to the customer? And of course, to keep this policy in force, it should be paid. How to do it in the easy and convenient way? For the insurance, it's practically mirroring, because the customer has a lack of trust, and the insurer has a lack of understanding what the customer need is in reality, not in our dreams or theoretical exercise, what the customer really needs. The insurer has also, in this specific segment, have a lack of insurance or scoring, what the banker is saying, so scoring experience. Because in specific segment of the customer, we have absolutely different picture on so-called mortality, on if the people get sick or they get accident. In specific segments, it's different pictures. And in low income segments with a low security, it's especially important. The next, When we are talking about reachability for the customer, for the insurer, like for the banker, it is distribution cost. What is the distribution cost? For example, if we are talking about the policy, which, so insurance protection, which costs, for example, 20, 30 pounds a year, who will bring this policy to the customer? Who will be able to pay for the cost of the branch, for the people, for the system, etc., for this small amount of money? And how the customer will pay for this? There's a lot of questions and a lot of efforts which needs to be done to overcome this. And today in the morning there was a lot of people who were talking about the awareness, about the education of the customer. It's a really very interesting and very critical topic, especially having in mind that almost half of the population in Egypt are young people. And many of them have not very good education. And coming back to the picture about the pyramids, I would like to tell you my story. So when I started to discover Egypt, of course I'd like to see first of all the major wonders of Egypt. And with my husband together we went to the pyramids. And it was very nice excursion. Dan was a very professional guide who spoke practically 4 languages. So English with an American accent, a very good German, French, and of course Egyptian. And to my surprise, in reality I was shocked. I discovered that the guy cannot read and cannot write, because he started to work as a guide over pyramids when he was 6 years old. He never ever visited the school. I asked him how you learn to speak foreign languages so well. So of course talking to the tourists, watching TV, so films with the voice of original film or the original movie. So the guy is highly talented, but he didn't got any education, any. What is interesting that I asked him that what about your family? I have 3 kids, and all of them go to the school. And the boy is going to the private school. So he understands how important it is after struggling the whole his life without the education. Why it's so important? Because it's not only increase the overall cultural level of the population. It's important. People will understand better what they're buying, why they are doing so, and what the benefits for them, how to use these different services. And people can, in reality, people can learn at any age. It's especially now, so with this mobile era of smartphones, iPads, mobile, internet, whatever, they are changing preferences of people. It's very interesting that having this, people became more demanding on the quality of service, demanding on how you behave with them. How do you have respect to the customer or not? And they're able to share all this within social media. And one problem with one customer will cost to any institution dozens of customers, so who are maybe live there, these financial institutions. So all these changes in the behavior, in the social atmosphere in the society force us to be more customer focused and quality driven. Practically it's very important. And another very important topic which we have to consider, with all these changes, especially with the young population, these people, generation Y, generation Z, there are different definitions of this, they are different. They have no passions to stay in the queue. No, they prefer to go and make a party with friends. They prefer to do many things fast. They are used with all this advertisement in the TV and the internet, etc. They are used for quick things to happen. And in case you are sending such customer to a bank branch or to whatever branch, where he has to stay 2 hours, what? He prefers to stay with the cash or to search for another solutions. And it's not only about young people. So as example of my personal life, a year ago, my mother was the anniversary, 75 years old. And I prepared for her a birthday gift. I bought for her an iPad. My mother never ever used any computer. Never, ever. But in 1 month, he has a Facebook account. She is writing emails to me. So this technology is made on the intuitive way. So practically, the people, even in this age, are able to learn and learn very fast. The only thing which I'm very cautious about, but I will try, because she has a bank account on the social fund, so for the pension account, and she opened a normal banking card. This bank has internet banking. And I try to learn her also to use the internet banking. I hope I will succeed with this. So practically, the opportunity are there, especially in Egypt. We have this culture of family support, so big family support. The mobile technologies are everywhere. In reality, we have a very limited competition in this market. Having in mind that 80 million people market is untapped, what is about competition? We are competing about very small marketplace, and the whole blue oceans of opportunities is open, and we have to find a way how to do it in the effective way. And of course, it's very important to collaboration and reach an agreement among major stakeholders. Of course, it is industries, NGOs, governments, regulators, etc., to agree on the rules of the game, how to proceed in the right way. And today, so before the lunch, it was a very interesting presentation from the EFSA regulator about e-commerce, practically e-signatures. So it is a very interesting development in the industry, and I'm really happy to see this approach. I'd like also to share you about short information about so Metlife in the respect of financial inclusion. It's very interesting that, as I mentioned, the Metlife started with an industrial insurance, so-called. So it's practically, it was launched in US in 1879. It is practically 140 years ago. And that time, Metlife hired British agent to train the sales force to sell the small policies where they are collecting every week the insurance premium. And not only this, they also provided some consultant services and nursery services for the customers. And it is practically was always in the focus of attention of the company. And as I mentioned, we continue this, and we will launch in Egypt in August this year, September, so in autumn, the so-called program Life Changer, which is a new initiative of Metlife, when we are working in a volunteering approach to provide information to the kids in the schools, to provide information about financial planning, what is the financial products are available on the market, how to behave, how to work with the banking products, with the credit cards, with loans, how the family budget is created. It's very important for kids to understand it from the very beginning, before the real serious life starts. We launched this project already in several countries in Europe with a very good success. And about Metlife, just a few information. So we started many years ago. Now it's one of the biggest companies in the life insurance in the world, and we have about 40+ million customers. And in Egypt, we are here so close to 20 years. So we are here enjoying our customers, which are now exceed 700,000, and I think we have a very big focus on the development of this market, and we believe on these initiatives on financial inclusions. And Metlife Foundation, it is the non-profit organization, so the part of Metlife Group, and this organization made a focus of attention for the next 5 years with very strong commitment to invest in financial inclusion programs over the world, over $20 million. And some other part of this investments is also participation in this very important financial inclusion conference here with leading by Fawry, and other initiatives which we are leading here. So I think that insurance is one of the most important and the less tapped, touched segments of financial inclusion, and together with our partners in different areas, we may achieve what we really need to provide the people, especially in the low segment, with adequate, trustworthy, affordable protection, which can stay with them for many, many years. Thank you. If you have some questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, so on the trust issue, this is a new concept for many people. When you say the word insurance, they know the word protection, they know other words from their normal lives, right? The family protection system in many countries. So to build trust in the insurance market and insurance companies, you probably need to have a very, very extremely good claim payment system, right? Mm-hmm. How do you simplify and make that claim payments good for the lower income levels?
It's really very important that the customer, they are not talking about insurance. They are talking about protection, which practically is the mechanism to cover unexpected losses. And the trust is not only created on the moment when we are selling the policy. The trust is creating when we are paying our claims. And in case we have a lot of customers, for example, we have dozens of thousands of customers, or in some countries, in some regions, we have millions of customers of different income level and premium level. And here is very important to make it in a very smooth and technologically advanced way. It is very important when you enroll the customer to the protection and when you pay claims. And based on what kind of protection is provided to the customer, for specific customers we may have a really simplified, so simple as simple triggers for the claims payments. And for example, in some countries where we are doing microfinance plus microinsurance, so our part is insurance, of course, or we do, for example, the combination with the savings in different areas, or we do the combination with some non-financial services like telecom services. We bundle and we provide the customer with this protection. The hassle-free operational process is very important, and we do a lot of technological development in this area. That so some examples. For example, we have e-claims process with one of the biggest consumer financing company, and we have simplified claims process. We need only 2 documents just to pay, and it is very fast. And it's very convenient for the customer and for the bank. And here we have to consider also the importance that you consider not only the interest of the bank, if you are talking about the credit protection. You have to think also about the customer itself. And if you provide the right information about the product and protection, the customer buys this. Because in case of the claims, the loan must be paid out to the bank or to the microfinance organization. Yes, it's a difficult situation for the life of the customer, and of course, so okay, the debt is paid, fine. What about the family? What about the family? And the reason for the insurance is not only to asset protection of the financial organization. It's very important also to provide the protection and support at the time when it's really needed to the family. So we have we started to offer specific packages of the product which provides the protection for both parties. And the customers, so really they appreciated this, and we saw a lot of very really satisfied families with this situation, who got this situation. So claims, yes, it's insurance shows that it works as a claims period. Yeah. Other questions? No? Thank you.
Okay, and for our final presentation for today, I would like to welcome Kahina van Dijk from MasterCard.
I'm the last one of a very, very long day. Very, very prestigious group of people and discussions. So, and I also had a very big lunch. I always eat very well when I'm in Egypt. Is this my mic or is this my mic? Okay. So let me try to, I can barely see over this thing. So for you and you, I can't see you at all. I might have to move to this side. Can I use this instead? Is that fine? Sorry.
There's also this clicker.
Okay, thanks. I have to keep moving so I can keep you awake and keep myself awake. So I am the last, so I am going to be hopefully very to the point. This morning we were talking about financial inclusion as being core to MasterCard's strategy. And what I said this morning and what I truly believe is that financial inclusion is not just a social imperative, but it is absolutely critical on the pathway to global prosperity for all of our citizens. And I mean all of our citizens across the globe. The 2.5 billion people who are financially excluded and the people here in Egypt that are financially excluded or financially underserved, we aim to solve that. And we are working very diligently to do so. But let me just talk to you a little bit about the way that we're seeing this. And we talk about digital financial inclusion because we really do believe that the digital, okay. Am I doing this or is somebody else doing this? It's, okay. Doing well and doing good, our CEO talks about this a lot. So these are not mutually exclusive. You can do well as a company, you can do well as a bank, you can do well as a telco, you can do well as a government, and you can do good at the same time. And this whole concept that we believe that in doing well, we are also doing good is something that is in the very essence of our financial inclusion strategy. So we do believe that financial inclusion will drive global prosperity. We also are looking at technology. We think of ourselves as a technology company, and sometimes people are surprised when I say that MasterCard is a technology company. But what we do and how we were founded is in moving pieces of information around the world in an interoperable way in milliseconds. And we were founded as a way to enable banks and merchants to conduct commerce with each other 40 years ago. So to us, it's a very natural position for us to be in today as the world is going through this digital revolution, to be in the forefront and at the center of it. So one thing I'm going to talk to you about, my first point really is the exponential acceleration due to technology. Everything that we're talking about is possible because of technology. And the technology advances and the mobile internet access give us the opportunity today. I think of old school banking, which I was a part of, as something that has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, but the model that we know today is not the model that we're going to know even in 20 years. So we are going through a fundamental shift in banking and financial services. Because of the acceleration in mobile and technology, people now have access to information which has impacted their dreams and their aspirations for themselves and their children. And I would say on that pyramid, on that basic hierarchy of needs, food and shelter and aspirations for your children are probably right there, right next to food and shelter. I can speak for myself as a mom of 2 young children. The third point on here, and I will talk about and relate it to our case studies, is that we are interconnected. And the social media, it's very interesting to me that the first thing that we all did when we were able to talk to each other through mobile phones and the internet is this explosion of social media. So we'll just talk about what's happened now and how that's relating actually to what we think are global adoption trends that are happening. And the last point again is we are in a moment of unbelievable transformation and transition. And I know Egypt is a point of transition as well, and we look at that as a positive. So, acceleration. So in the last 10 years, I'm going to go really quickly through this. What has happened in the last 10 years in order for us to think about what is going to happen in the next 10 years? So 2003, this is London's contactless card, the metro. When I first got to London in 2002 from New York, we had tickets, we had coins going into little boxes. That was replaced in 2003 with a contactless card called Oyster. At the same time, the New York Metro did the same thing. New York, Moscow, Hong Kong, London, Singapore, Seoul, Dubai. The contactless revolution, what happened with this was a new way to pay. You no longer swiped, remember? You were swipe, it was all swipe, and they had those little zigzag machines that you took a card and when people went, that was how people took card payments. And so contactless kind of took us into another place because a contactless chip can be in a card, it can be in your watch. It was a whole new concept of that I'm just paying by kind of waving at something. And the big metro and transit systems introduced that. I bring up this New York City taxis in 2008, my home state. I am from New York. I'm from a very small town in upstate New York. I'm not a New York City person, and if you've been to New York, you know the difference. But the New York City taxis launching payments, and I was just talking to Denise in Brazil, who's at the central bank in Brazil, and I said, taxis are really interesting because when taxis switch over to a new method, there's going to be mass adoption. There's something about the taxi drivers. They are kind of our herald of, it has to be easy for them to do. It has to add value, because these guys work on very low margins and very low incomes. And so when the taxis all went over to payments, and all of a sudden you could just jump in any taxi, and you didn't have to worry about going and getting cash late at night, or wondering how much cash, if you're going to make it to your destination, or negotiating with the taxi because you really didn't have that much cash, that marked another really big signal. That's where kind of the last vestige of cash, at least in New York, that was a big signal that we were going somewhere else. And then I just bring up this because this is all contactless technology, but the Russian school kids. So in Russia, in a state in Russia, we launched a pilot last year where the state wanted to electronify school vouchers, school meal vouchers. And so they said to us, MasterCard, listen, I know this isn't what you do, but it's the same technology. Could you do something where we could just, instead of giving these kids vouchers, have them pay electronically? So of course our, little geniuses in innovation came up together and we came up with a bracelet. And the great thing about this bracelet is it did allow the school kids to go into the lunchroom and just kind of tap and walk by. But more importantly, it also notified the parents when the kids got to school. It also became the bracelet when they took a book out of the library that they used to say that they had taken the book. And more importantly, probably for those of you with school kids, it told the parents when they left the school. So I think my point is that we weren't thinking about that, the Russian school kid, when we launched the Oyster card. But that's what's happened in the last 10 years. I'm going to move quickly. So what else happened in the last 10 years? Well, Facebook was born in 2003 or 2004 on a campus in Harvard by a 19-year-old. In 10 years, you have 1 trillion connections around the world, 1 billion people using Facebook. Twitter, tweeting, which I never did. I have to say, I got my account and I didn't do anything for 6 years. I just started. I'm a new tweeter. But you know, this is now a definition in a dictionary. It used to be a chirping noise in English that birds made. It's now also considered to make a posting on the Twitter social networking site, launched in 2006. And I guess my point is, when we talk about are all of these things possible, just look back 10 years. We're all old enough to know. 10 years ago, Nokia was the #1 handset provider globally. I don't know how many people in this room have a Nokia right now. There were 53 million phone connections, mobile connections in Africa. Egypt alone has, 100 million right now. There was no LinkedIn. There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There was no iPhone, 2007. There was no iPad. So my point is that it's accelerating. And for us to address the needs and the expectations of our citizens and our consumers, we need to evolve as well. So, unprecedented connections, commerce democratization. Ooh, okay. It's going to go really quick if I learn how to use the clicker. So, mobile payments, what are we trying to do? We're trying to enable new digital sellers and buyers. These guys are at the Tokyo Fish Market selling tuna. Now they can sell tuna to people who are not just visiting the fish market. I've been to that fish market. You have to go at like 4:30 in the morning. It's considered a tourist attraction. The point is we want to connect those merchants, those small micro merchants, to the world. Okay. Our national identity, I'm going to go into 4 case studies in just a minute, but national identity recognizes the individual, enables the power of collective bargaining, collective purchasing. This is the woman I'm talking about on the beach. We want to enable her to accept electronic payments. You see she's got her beach wears and she's got her baby strapped to her back. The 200 to 300 million micro merchants who drive local economies. I mean, I was so impressed with what Brazil has done. They have taken their formal economy from, I'm going to quote you, 60% of an informal economy to 12% in 10 years. The informal economy has been formalized, and Brazil has realized unprecedented growth at the same time. So I guess, again, when we talk about what does this actually mean to economies, these micro merchants are driving our economies. And again, the farmer with the iPad. So let's talk about case studies. Okay, case study 1. This is about partnership with governments. This is about the South African social agency who decided to digitize payments, to move from cash, voucher payments, to digital payments issued on a MasterCard. And this is about delivering 10 million of those payments, collecting biometric information on all of those people, and providing them a gateway into the formal economy and digital financial inclusion. I think the thing that I want to talk about here is the efficiency argument, because all governments are looking for ways to be more efficient. All governments are looking for ways to combat fraud. The other thing that happened here, quite interestingly, is when they issued these cards, the instant issuance, and you have to register, and you had to do it in person, and you had to provide voice authentication, and you had to provide your fingerprint, they realized that they had about 3 million people who weren't around anymore, but they were collecting benefits. those efficiencies that they've seen by now having voice authentication. So every month when you get your benefits, there's a voice authentication phone call that comes in and to make sure that you're still proof of life. The efficiencies that the South African government has saved is $375 million in operational efficiencies. That $375 million can now be used to provide more benefits to more people in South Africa. So my point is that this is, of course, MasterCard's interest is those people were buying their groceries with cash and now they're using a MasterCard to buy their groceries. Not all of them. A lot of them are just withdrawing cash. But that's a journey. And there's a clear interest for MasterCard, but there's a clear benefit to the people who now have those cards and to the government who provide those services. The second case study, which I mentioned earlier today, is around the biometric national ID card. This biometric national ID card is really important for us because governments around the world are talking to us about doing the same. It is quite expensive to issue biometric ID cards, we know that. And that's why commercial partnerships with people like MasterCard, of course, I work for MasterCard, there's a reason why this is up there. We believe that by helping the government of Nigeria identify their people and drive financial inclusion, we are going to have more people doing transactions in Nigeria, getting away from cash, and hopefully using a MasterCard. Not all those people will use a MasterCard. Some of those people will choose to use another competitive card. But the point is that for us, we have enabled the government to use state-of-the-art anti-fraud technology by having a biometric national ID card, which could not have been financed on their own. And this, just to let you know, although phase one is just the really simple functionality of having an ID, having a name, having an identity, full integration with financial services is the multi-year plan. My other point in this is it doesn't happen overnight. You do have to take step by step. I often tell the teams when we're trying to do big, complex, hairy projects, you know, let's eat this elephant one spoonful at a time, please. We have to prioritize what we're going to do, take the first step, then take the second step. That's our Nigeria program. Really quickly, we have all over the world, we have done multi-party partnerships with bracelets and mobile phones and companion cards, with telco operators. You know, these are multi-party stakeholders, and it does take a village to get these off the ground and to get scale. I think the reason that some of these programs don't actually scale is because people are trying to do it all on their own, and they're trying to keep all of the upside and the revenue, and the reality is that we're not going to get there unless we partner with each other and we work together. Oops, hold on. The other thing I'd like to say is on mobile POS, these micro merchants that we're talking about, this is the Colombia case study, but you know, when we talk about the informal economy, the importance of micro merchants and all of this, that $5 trillion that's moving around in cash, we have to think about the taxi drivers, we have to think about that woman selling you know, sandals on the beach, and we have to think about the fishermen, we have to think about the guys who take tourists out on the boats here on the Nile. The point is that in Colombia, for example, the micro merchant is 80% of the business economy. How do we enable them? How do we help them move into the digital economy? Because if they want to buy another boat or they have a repair, they need identity. They need access to capital. If they've only transacted in cash, they don't have any proof of the business that they have. So this is about access to capital, this is about access to customers, this is about increasing their value and the value of the financial system to them. I'd like to end with something I think is really important. I've heard you know, a lot of people kind of talk about this. You know, what is the business model? So I'm simple. I'm a very simple person. You know, the math is there's 2 billion people in the world, there's 5 trillion in cash, If we put those people into a formal economy, we obviously will all see benefits. We'll see benefits from anti-fraud, we'll see benefits from anti-corruption, we'll see benefits because those people will be recognized as real businesses. They'll enter the formal economy, they will pay taxes, they will be recognized. And so I guess, the math to me is very simple, but what is not simple is the investment in the infrastructure that it takes. And that's what I want to just say for a moment about Egypt and why Egypt is so special. This is my second time in Egypt. I was in Egypt about a month ago. I've just moved to the region with my family. I will be in Egypt probably every few weeks because what we see here is we have something very special. There's already a mobile financial services ecosystem here. It exists. And it's been built over the last couple of years with multiple stakeholders. To my point, and nothing gets done on its own here. It has been a partnership with the central bank, with regulations that are specific to the mobile financial services ecosystem. It has been done with the biggest banks, and the biggest bank in Egypt, NBE, the EBC, Fawry, Etisalat. My point is that Egypt has something, when I look globally, and I travel a lot, the reason that we are so excited and it's been prioritized to really push mobile financial services. And it's one of a handful of countries that has been prioritized. Because everything that you need to make all of these theories into reality and GDP and move millions and millions of people into digital financial inclusion exists. You've built it. You've built it. It's live. You have phone cash. You have an ecosystem. You have regulators. You have it. And most countries are trying to build it. Or most countries have launched with one telco or one bank. You have a global interoperable mobile system. And so what I want to leave you with is that I'm very excited about the opportunities here, but you should also feel very good about the vision around internet access, around mobile financial services, because it's very impressive what's happened here. So I thank you very much for your time. It's the end of the day, and I thoroughly enjoyed being here today, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you. No questions. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. مش عارف ايه المشكلة. Okay, so thank you everybody for coming to our event today. We're very pleased to have all of you. We're very pleased to have all the speakers from the different parts of the world. Please, if you have a headset, please return it to the desk over there, and we will be very pleased to hear your feedback through the feedback forms that you received in the package today. So you can leave the feedback forms at the registration desk while you are leaving. Thank you very much.